Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 98 of the cast. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zaberwolf. We're going to be talking about The Flash, which is DC's new movie, which came out this week, which is the end of the DCEU. I got to give a spoiler warning for this one. If you haven't seen the movie yet, maybe come back and check it out. Check out a replay once you've actually seen the film. If you're new to the channel, make sure you drop a subscription on the channel, leave a like on the video, and if you're watching us on a replay, let us know in the comments below what you thought. We're going to also be talking about Secret Invasion, which drops next week, and any other nerdy news from the week. So, a little bit of a spoiler warning. As I said, if you haven't seen the movie yet, we're going to be going deep on it. So, yeah, here we go. Yo, what's up, bro? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, man? I muted like two different things, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I have a mute button on my actual mixer as well, and sometimes I'll hit that by mistake and not realizing, because I've got push to talk obviously when I'm gaming as well, and there's a mute in OBS as well. So I've like 3 mute buttons I got to play around with sometimes. So yeah, it gets
ridiculous. Man.
Yeah, man. How was the week? How are you? I know you're just literally home from the cinema. You just went to see the film, so it's going to be fresh in your mind. I went to see it yesterday, so
dude, I've been so busy with work this week. Like I haven't really had time to do anything. And then when I get off work, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play some Diablo. And then I'm like, I'm gonna watch some stuff with Katie for a bit. And then I'm like, well, fuck. Well, maybe an hour of Diablo. And then I'm like, I'm tired. I go to bed. So like, I know you know that feeling, especially now that like your daughter's growing up, and that eventually you're gonna reach that point of like, yeah, I'm just tired.
Yeah. Man, my weekend was so crazy busy that I genuinely thought I went to see the Flash movie on last night. I actually went to see it 2 nights ago. That's how crazy my weekend's been. Yeah. So we had like relatives and friends and stuff over yesterday. So in like different groups as well. So yesterday was just crazy. It was just like so many people coming over to visit the house and stuff. So and yeah, sorry, I went to see the movie on Friday night. So I actually didn't get a chance because I didn't realize well, sorry, I should have checked the runtime of the movie, but I didn't realize it was like 2.5 hours long. And then there was like 30 minutes of like trailers and ads before the movie as well. So like I nearly didn't get home till midnight. I was hoping to kind of sneak onto Twitch and do a stream at like 11 p.m. and just do like a 3-hour stream or something. But like I didn't get in the door till like midnight. And I was like, oh, the effort of starting a stream now. I was like, I'll be up all night. I was like, I'm not even
exactly.
Quick shout out to everybody that's in the chat with us here before we even started. We got Rhino, Andre, Rob's here, aka Max Luthor. Chillin's here as well. Let's go. What's up, everyone? Show your muscles. No. What's it called? Let's just jump straight in. The Flash.
Yeah.
Give me the out of 10, just so I can kind of get a little feel for what you think, and then maybe I'll ask you what you liked or what you didn't like, or what worked or what didn't work for you.
Now understand this, Finto. The scoring system on my end doesn't necessarily mean anything below 7 is bad, but I do give it like a 6.5.
Yeah.
And only because there are a lot of things that I had gripes about, but the show in its entirety was fine. It wasn't a shit show. I wasn't just like rolling my eyes all the time and going like, ugh, this is fucking boring.
Yeah.
It was mainly like, it was good. It was decent. It wasn't too bad. Like it was okay. Like for a WB movie, for a DC movie, like it's live action. It's really hard to say. I don't want to go like crazy. I don't want to sound crazy and be like, oh man, it's a piece of shit. But like I would have to say like there are a lot of things in that movie that I think could have been cut and reduce the time frame to maybe less than 2 hours, because there was a lot of fluff. And I'm sure you kind of felt it a little bit here and there, but like I'm pretty sure like the rest of it, like the like near the end of it, it's magical. Like it's fun. It's so good. It's like I really like that. I really had a great time at the very end. The very beginning, it was like prepping me for like, oh my God, what is this fucking shit? And but eventually it kind of worked its way around and figured its shit out. Like it felt like they worked from the end and then moved to the beginning. You know what I mean? Like they kind of ran out of budget, and then they went, well, I don't know what sounds good. Let's save a bunch of babies.
Yeah.
Let's save a bunch of CG babies. Oh my God.
like, yeah, like a lot of people in the chat are saying like 6. You say around 6.5. To be honest, when I walked out of the theater first, I thought, yeah, about 6.5, maybe a little closer to a 7. But now that I think about it more, I'm probably closer to a 6 than I am to a 7.
Yeah,
And to be honest, the more I think about it, the more I get pissed off about how bad the CGI actually was.
it was so bad.
Like chilling here, like the baby's falling was like 2002 era CGI. And like honestly, at the start of the movie, like, you know, that's, I don't know what they were trying to do with that scene. It was like, you know, wow factor and just like shock and awe by like babies falling out a window. I can understand why they wouldn't have real babies, obviously, or like, you know, that would obviously, like, or anything that would like resemble real babies. So I can nearly see why they made it a point to make the CGI bad there.
Yeah.
Just so that, you know, you would know that, oh, no actual babies got harmed in the making of this movie, sort of thing, you know?
Right, yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a pass for here. But then even like, and like, I read a comment from the director, Andy Muschietti, who said that, you know, he's like, oh, well, the CGI is bad because you're watching it from the perspective of the Flash and it's meant to be all blurry and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? Like, there's scenes in the movie where it's like the two versions of Barry standing beside each other, and like the face CGI is so shit that like you can tell which you see the two guys standing beside each other, and you could tell which one is the stand-in that they've CGI'd their face and which one is actually Ezra Miller. And like you see them swap it back and forth. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, I was like, this is unbelievable. Like,
it's incredibly hard to do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's because you have to basically pretend that you're there.
Yeah. Like,
it's so hard.
It's fucking outrageous. It's outrageous. Quick hello to Even to Death. What's up, brother? Big member of the family over on Twitch. So good to see you here, dude. Look, like, honestly, like, you know, I'm a massive Flash fan, and that is probably why I scored it so high when I first saw it, because there was some things that I loved about it. Like, when Barry first puts the suit on when he's waiting for his breakfast to be made and all, and he goes to Gotham and he saves the day and he comes back, I'm like, that's the Flash. I'm like, this is cool, you know?
Yeah.
And like, when you see his first run, you're kind of like, that looked pretty good, and like his running wasn't too bad. But did you notice, like, when Ezra Miller runs, he like throws his hands, and it's kind of like he's dabbing. He's like dabbing as he's running.
and I get it. Because if you look at the, you know, let's go into like Injustice. If you look into Injustice, when he does his ultimate, you see, like, as he's running forward, he has the motion, but it's more a little more angled straight forward, not completely straight, but it's like very close. I guess Ezra was like, I guess I'm just going to swing my arms around and pretend like I'm going forward, because it's probably really hard to do that, especially in that position.
Yeah, like it's like, again, I can kind of understand. And even when you're watching, like, and I don't think you've even seen the Snyder Cut yet, but there's an amazing scene with the Flash at the end of the Snyder Cut, and it just shows you how different he even is, because he runs the same way, but the way that Zack shoots it is just so much better, you know? And I don't get, like, again, what Andy was trying to do with this movie, where it's like, you know, you're in the perspective of the Flash. I'm like, it's such a cop-out answer for him to say that, because like there was so much bad CGI outside of the Speed Force, like it's not even funny. And like, I hated the Speed Force. I hated how they did it, like where he's in the bubble and he's in a coliseum and he's looking at all the different like timelines or something.
It was very confusing. I was like, what the fuck is all this?
Yeah, it's so stupid. Like the way they did it on the CW was like he'd run into like a wormhole and he'd be going through the Speed Force, and like he'd just be running through a tunnel, and like he'd look to the right and he'd see a timeline, look to the left, different timeline or whatever, like, you know, and it was easy to follow and it looked grand. Like, honestly, and I never thought I would say this, but the CW CGI really holds up. For the first couple of seasons of The Flash is actually better than this movie, and I cannot believe I'm saying that. A $200 million movie like just looked terrible when it came to the CGI. Like, it was so distracting. It was so bad. Like, honestly, that's like the part of the movie that I hated the most was the CGI. It just brought me out of it so much. So much. Like, parts of the movie that I really loved was Keaton's Batman was brilliant. I just loved how like acrobatic they made him and everything. Like, you know, the scene where you first see him in the kitchen and he's up on the table and he's doing spinning kicks and stuff. I was like, this is fucking epic. Like, this is Batman, like, you know. And obviously I'm a massive fucking Ben Affleck fan. So the fact that we got to see Affleck kind of do some of the coolest shit that he's done as Batman was amazing. Like the blue and gray suit as well, like the kind of animated suit on the big screen looked really cool as well.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh fuck, they fixed the cowl. Like,
yeah. Well, like, and then as well, like at one point, I think even Affleck's face was really badly CGI'd. Like my girlfriend, like, kind of poked me and was just like, "Is that Ben Affleck?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, it's meant to be." Like, it was just so bad. And then again, I'm going to give it a little spoiler warning, but there's a couple of cameos in the movie that maybe some people didn't see coming. I've been big on the leak scene for a long time, so I knew they were coming anyway. So none of them surprised me. Actually, I'll tell you what did surprise me the most. I wasn't, or maybe I forgot, but I wasn't expecting to see Wonder Woman in the movie. And when she showed up, I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. So she showed up at the start of the movie, like during a kind of Justice League save scene in Gotham City, and then she fucked off. She was in it for like 5 minutes, but I was like, okay, I didn't really expect to see her, but obviously I knew Nick Cage was going to be in it. I knew George Clooney was going to be in it. And
it's all just a likeness though, like, and so it kind of makes me wonder, like, do they have to pay Nick Cage like a certain fee for that? Like,
did you notice as well? There was like there was a CGI character. It was one of the first CGI characters that you saw when he first went into the Speed Force, and it was meant to be Henry Cavill, but it looked nothing like Cavill. And I was kind of like, did they just take a shot at Cavill? I was like, this was so bad that I was like, I know that's meant to be Cavill because he's got the top off. It's when he first gets resurrected in the Justice League. But I'm like, is this supposed to be? Is this actually supposed to be Cavill, or are they like ripping the piss here? Like they're making it kind of look like Cavill, but then it's like that's like the CGI just stayed that bad throughout the entire movie that I was just like, oh, okay, maybe that obviously was meant to be Cavill, because like even when you get to the scene where Nick Cage is in the movie, like if you didn't know it was Nick Cage, you would kind of struggle to see that it's Nick Cage because it doesn't blatantly jump out as Nick Cage. I knew it was him coming. You know what I mean? But I'd say as a normal fan, they'd look at that going like, because he has long hair and stuff, so you might be like, what the fuck? It's just like, you're looking at him and you're just like, it doesn't even look like him. And like Christopher Reeve looks so fake. It looked like it was from like a 2004 video game. Like it was just terrible, bro. It was so fucking bad. Like how
it's hard, man.
Man of Steel came out 10 years ago, 2013. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. 2013 was when it released in cinema. So they would have been working on it and like filmed it probably 11, 12 years ago, and then like working on CGI maybe 11 years ago for it to be released 10 years ago, and the CGI in that movie was 50 times better than this. Like no joke, in every scene. Do you know what I mean? It was just, it was horrendous. So fucking bad. I don't get it. I will give props to the movie though, that I had one of the biggest laugh out loud moments that I've had in a cinema in a long time. My girlfriend actually had to hit me and say, tell me to shut up because I was laughing so much. But the bit in the movie where the second Barry just makes the suit and they're about to go down and they're about to start fighting just before the final battle.
Right.
And when he turns and looks at him and like the mask won't move at him, it's kind of poking fun at the Keaton's 89, the way his neck wouldn't move. Bro, I was howling. Like I was laughing so much. And my girlfriend had to hit me like, shut up, will you? Like, because again, like in the cinemas over here, like people don't really make noise like when they're watching a movie. Like obviously something's funny, it's funny, but I think I was the only one laughing. Like it was just it had me rolling, dude. It was so funny.
I'm sure you got a few like silent chuckles though. They're like, oh my god.
I actually, like, I'll be fair, I hate Ezra Miller, and I wish he was never in this movie to begin with. I wish they recast him before like they released it. They probably should have. But to be fair to him, he had some great moments in the movie. Like some of the back and forth with his other version of himself, while it was blatantly fake to look at, some of it was really good. And then like the younger version of Barry, because for anyone who doesn't know who hasn't seen the movie and doesn't really care, basically he goes into a different timeline, and it's, if you've read Flashpoint, he runs into a different version of himself. That version of himself doesn't have his powers yet. So Barry's like, okay, we need to like get you to create your powers, because he thinks he's in the same timeline. So he's like, if I don't get my powers, maybe I cease to exist, blah, blah, blah. So he helps him get his powers, and in doing that, he loses his powers himself. So he's kind of trying to train the younger version of himself to use his powers and stuff. And I thought that was pretty good.
Did you get the sort of, I would say, like Easter egg style like design for the other Barry from the alternate universe?
What do you mean? Sorry.
So when you see the alternate Barry, he's wearing yellow the majority of the time.
Yeah.
Like you see it blatantly. It's like yellow, and I'm like, okay, so this is probably going to be the bad guy. I'm not sure if they're going to do Reverse Flash with him, but they're definitely planning to make him the bad guy. And I already called it from the get go.
Yeah,
It was one of those moments of like, fucking really, like, do you have to give us the color coding? Because you see that like one Barry is red, the other one's yellow, and it's like, well, we know that Reverse Flash is yellow.
Well, Reverse Flash isn't Barry though, but I know what you mean.
Right, but like but people they do it all the time. Like fucking Darian wasn't supposed to be MODOK, but they made Darian MODOK. So like it's one of those things of where like, oh my god, please don't do it. Please don't make him Reverse Flash. That would be such a big punch in the nuts. And luckily they just kind of made it like very like ambiguous. They're like he's just Barry. You know, it's just Barry from like trying to save the universe over and over and over again.
Yeah. Like honestly, it pissed me off that we didn't see any Reverse Flash or even a mention of him or like any like red lightning or something. We should have got something around the murder scene. You know, like a flash of light or heard lightning, maybe not even seen anything. But the fact that we didn't, like, because we know it's Reverse Flash who kills his mother, like, you know, and I think somebody even asked him in an interview this week, and he confirmed that yes, it is actually Reverse Flash who kills his mother. And if they do get to make a sequel to it, which they probably won't, they would have gone down the route of Reverse Flash, which obviously Reverse Flash is probably one of the greatest villains in comic books, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
absolutely incredible, proper menace, and I would have loved to see it. Yeah, it was blatantly obvious. Again, I'm a big Flash fan, so when you saw the kind of Dark Flash or Dead Flash, whatever you want to call him, the second he popped up the first time, I was just like, yeah, look, I know this is going to be like a future version of Barry, like that's kind of gone corrupt or whatever. It was a bit obvious, but I'm sure people who aren't Flash fans might have liked the whole twist, but again, it was very obvious to me.
Yeah,
I'm very happy though that they didn't go down the route of actually making him the Reverse Flash, because I would have been very fucking pissed off. Like that would have knocked my score down to like a 3 or 4. Honestly, like that would have really fucking got under my nails. Like I would have been fucking fuming. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that. I did hear or read today that the box office performance of this movie will determine whether they make another one or not. And to be honest, I think that I checked it a couple of hours ago, and on IMDb, like the global box office is sitting at like 139 million right now. They estimate it's about 200 million to make the movie, so they haven't even like hit the budget for the film yet. And as well, they went hardcore on the fucking marketing for this film. So I'd say they need to hit probably about 600 or 700 million just to break even on this film, and they won't do it. It's not going to happen.
Well, to make a profit, I think that's a very high count. I would say like 4. Like double the amount, because like I didn't really see that much advertising to be completely honest. Like I saw
it was everywhere, bro. It was
I saw it on Twitch. That's all I saw it on. I mean, I didn't see it on billboards or anything.
They had gigantic billboards in Times Square. They even had billboards here in Ireland, which like really tells me how hardcore they go on the marketing when the marketing hits here. Like one of the like biggest buildings in the city center on like the river had like Flash's face on it and everything, like, which they don't do. It's so fucking rare. So that's how I know they put a lot of money into advertising. I'd say it was all over buses, all over bus stops, everywhere. Saw it everywhere. Okay. Yeah. So right. and honestly, like even when they don't do big advertising, I know they say it roughly is about 200 million for the budget of the film, but like they need to triple it before they even break even. Like it's crazy the amount of money that they need. So I would say honestly, about 700 to break even. I would say.
Right. Well,
it's not going to do it. Like the second week numbers are going to be so bad because people are shitting all over the movie so much that people just won't want to go see it in week 2. It's going to drop right off.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, it just like. I don't think it's even gonna reach that high. I think it's gonna be one of the worst live action like films to date. It's probably not gonna be the worst, but it's going to be one of the worst.
It's really weird as well because like, you know, prior to the movie coming out, like when people were coming out of the screenings and saying like, oh my god, it's one of the best superhero movies of all time. Obviously they were paid to say that. Like, you know, they're like, there's no way Tom Cruise loves this movie. There's no way, like, no way. I'm sorry. Like, you know, he was paid by Warner Brothers to say that. And the same with
they had like celebrities watch it?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, God.
they had
No, you
celebrities
don't.
commenting on it, like, and
That's
I
so
can't remember
dumb.
who
Like,
else. If anyone in the chat can remember, there was some other big names who said it. I think was it like fucking Stephen King or something that mentioned something about it as well. Like they were obviously paying off these gigantic A-listers to talk about this movie, and like even James Gunn said it was one of the best. I think he said it was the best comic book movie of this year, and even that statement alone is fucking ridiculous. Like he said it was better than Guardians 3, his own movie for Marvel, which again is just probably a shot at them because he's now the president of DC. But like for him to say that it's better than Across the Spider-Verse, and Gunn himself says that Into the Spider-Verse is his favorite movie of all time, like he's fucking talking out of his ass, man. Like no way. This movie is not like it's okay. I think I'm biased because I love The Flash so much. Like I was excited going into the theater to see it. You know, when you like the movie first starts and you see the grading and you see the name of the movie underneath. Like I saw The Flash and I turned to my girlfriend. I was like, I can't believe we're sitting down to watch The Flash in the cinema right now. Like it was a big moment for me. Like I've been such a Flash fan for so long. And like if I didn't have those feelings going into this movie, I would have hated it. Like I've
yeah.
some of my IRL friends are texting me going, that was the biggest piece of dog shit ever, like 3 out of 10 and all, like hating it, like, you know, so, and I knew I wouldn't hate it as much as that just because I'm biased, but, you know, I can see why people don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, if you, like, it just seemed like they tried to kind of flip the marketing into a Batman movie towards the end. And like, it's a smart move, really, because there was so much shit going on with Ezra. And like the fact that even like I think a lot of people are like even angry that Ezra got to like go to the premiere and he's like doing fucking interviews and stuff like that. Like they probably should have kept him away. And like it's just I don't know, bro. Like I think it's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way, and I think a lot of people are just not going to see the movie for that fact alone.
Oh,
Like there's
100%.
a lot of people boycotting it, and I don't think that they thought that that was going to happen. I think that they were kind of banking on the hopes that people would like see the movie and just kind of forget. But I think a lot of people just are being stubborn and just going, no. Like, again, I don't agree with one single thing that Ezra Miller has done. I think he deserves to never work again for everything that he's done. He's gone way too far. You know, but I'm more of a Flash fan than I am giving a shit about what a celebrity does in his real life. Like fucking half of Hollywood are freaks, man. Like freaks. Like they just don't get caught doing shit or whatever. Like, you know. So like I don't think about that sort of stuff when I'm watching movies. Like I'm not like, is this guy a dickhead in real life? You know, like most of Hollywood probably are dickheads, you know. So but you know, I can see why people would turn around and say, actually, you know, this guy's just an absolute menace. I'm not going to go see the movie.
Right.
I'm more of a Flash fan though, that, you know, I can't do that. Like I have to see it.
Right. But you also have to take into consideration that like for the people that are boycotting it, there's also people that who are like, if you watch it, let me know if it's good. If it's not, then I'm not going to go see it. So now
Yeah.
it's turning into the snowball effect of like you and I are basically saying like it was okay. But like we don't like I would in the sense I would only recommend it if you really want something to watch. But in terms of everything DC related right now, like I think it's really in the shitter. I think that they really need to reconstruct everything, and hopefully James Gunn can do something about that. But other than that, like you can choose to see it or not. You can even like I would look up the spoilers if you really don't want to watch it and just kind of see what happened.
Well, we've kind of talked about them already.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm saying like I'm saying for the people that
ruined the whole thing.
I'm saying for the people that like aren't listening to the spoilers part, like just you know, just take into consideration if you really don't want to see it, I understand. At least look it up and see what you think about the plot. Because it's
like it's a poorly told version of Flashpoint, really. Like it's a Flashpoint story, like really. Right. But they do change a few things, and yeah, like what did you think of Supergirl? I actually I kind of liked her, and I thought it was an interesting story that Ezra is going and looking for Clark the whole time, and he thinks that when he's gonna find Clark the whole time, and then it turns out to be Kara. Like, and you're like, oh, okay. He's like, what the hell? Who's this? Like, you know, I thought that was kind of cool. And again, Keaton's Batman stepping in to kind of help them on the mission and stuff was great. Like, you know, you got to see like the OG like Batman music playing as he's like soaring down, and like the back plane in the air, like going around like the silhouette of the moon and all. Like if you're a Batman fan, like an old Batman fan, like you're gonna watch this movie just for that, and you're gonna enjoy it just for that. But yeah, I don't like. I did like everything around Supergirl. I thought she did well, you know, and if she hung around, I wouldn't be upset.
Honestly, I think they should have fleshed her out a bit more. It felt like it was very quickly paced. Like honestly, man, this movie really did just fluff things in between, and didn't realize that, oh shit, we need to make room for like backstory for, for Supergirl. We need to make room for backstory for like for this Batman. Michael Keaton's Batman. Yeah, like, okay, so Gotham is safe now, but so I'm just not gonna do shit. Like, fuck that. Like, Batman doesn't do that. Batman will maintain the status quo. He'll continue to train. He'll keep himself busy, just to make sure that everything always remains the same. He would have known ahead of time if the Kryptonians were going to show up.
Yeah.
He would have had kryptonite stuff. Like I feel like he would have been more prepared. And I think the idea behind their plot was like, this Batman is just lazy until he's not. Yeah,
Well,
but why is he like? But why is he broken? Like, we didn't really get any perspective on why. Is he completely broken? Like, yes, he lost Alfred, but like how? Like, I don't remember him saying anything about how we lost Alfred.
I think again, it's just, I think the way I perceived it was supposed to be kind of similar to Ben Affleck's and the whole Dark Knight Rises storyline, where Bruce kind of retires and the time goes on, and then the introduction of Superman brings him back into the fold. And I think it was kind of the same thing, except that was going to happen again, but it didn't happen because Barry intervened. So he came looking for Bruce first before Zod came in. You know what I mean? Like, so as all that happened, then Bruce is like, oh, this Zod character, who is he? And like, he fills him in. So it's kind of the way they did it in Batman versus Superman, but just Bruce is just a little bit older, I suppose. That's the way I perceived it. And me personally, I didn't need a backstory on Kara, because I know a lot about her already, but I can understand why, I just think, like, how would the normies take this going in? And it's like, who the fuck is this girl? There's a girl version of Superman or something, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, right. I fully get your point. Like, they probably should have given him a bit more of a backstory, but to be honest, her backstory is kind of simple. Like, she leaves Krypton at the same time as Clark, and she's sent to protect Clark, but her pod gets knocked off course, and then she doesn't arrive for years after, and Clark's already grown. Like, that's the original story. But again, and they mentioned that in it, it's like, oh, we must have got separated as we were traveling to Earth. And then in this version, Zod says, well, I found the child and killed him. And that's when she fucking loses the plot. And I thought that was cool. I was like, yeah.
Cool. That's fine. But like, what was her backstory? Like, what was the upbringing? Like, did she come in as a child? Did she come in as an adult? Like, what's going on here? So like,
in Flashpoint, when Bruce comes to Earth, he gets pretty much captured, I think, straight away. And he lives his whole life in solitude. And that was what they did with her as well. So she was in captivity the whole time, never kind of interacted with Earth's son. So I think I think what you're supposed to think that's happened is that she's gone the same route as the Flashpoint Superman, the Flashpoint Clark, should I say? Sorry, Chillin brought this up in the chat, and actually, yeah, I forgot about this, but yeah, Keaton does refer to Gotham being the safest city in the world. So I think it's like, I'm retired, I'm done, I'm finished. Like, there's nothing left to do.
Yeah, but that's not Batman. I'm telling you, man. Like, if you were to look into the world of Batman Beyond, which is exactly what Keaton looked like, man. He looked like that old Bruce Wayne from Batman Beyond.
Well, that was the original plan, right? But they've obviously gone and changed everything. I think that was the whole point of Batgirl. They were going to kind of do Batman Beyond, but with Batgirl instead, and the older Bruce comes in, and like, I think they had original plans to use Keaton for like 3 appearances, and now obviously can't do that now.
Right. Well, yeah, because they fucked up Batgirl.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, it's fucking dumb. Like, it's just like, well, that part to me is cool, like, in my opinion, because we don't necessarily see a lot of superhero deaths in DC comic movies. Like, we don't see any of that kind of like situation where, like, oh my god, character is dead. Like, that was a focal point in the movie itself, where it's like, this is inevitable. You can't change this. And I thought that was really cool. I also think it's like very interesting how Zod is like extremely powerful. And if you look at the details on that, the reason why Zod is so strong in this situation against like Kara is because of the fact that she was kept in captivity for so long and they prevented her from like maintaining her strength and being able to train whenever necessary. So like she's coming out like weak and like immeasurable to Zod himself. So like it makes sense that like there's no way to beat him. You guys are fucked.
Yeah, I think Kara powered up a bit too quickly. I like the way her senses started to kind of go at her a little bit, but the way that like do you remember when like Clark first starts getting his powers in Man of Steel, and you see him like he's only a child, but you see him and he's like, he can't see, and he's like the X-ray vision, he can't control it, and he's hearing shit miles away. I think Kara should have gone through a lot more of that rather than having it for like literally 3 seconds and then she's fine. And that I thought that was a bit strange, because I presume she's never, although she was an adult, so I don't know, but I presume she's never
see that's the problem though. Like but that's the problem, Finto. It's like that you're starting to like piece it in your head. You're like, what the fuck? Why does like how does this make sense? In the sense,
again, like it's lazy, bro, and I think it's just,
of course,
they don't care about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, like I said, had they shown backstory and given like a little, like maybe even a flashback of her being like, I trained here, I stayed here, I kept vigilant because I was in the hopes that maybe Kal-El would show up here, like that would have made more sense, because it's like, okay, well, she's been here for such a long time, but she's been in hiding, and somehow she got captured because she was in Siberia, and like those people for some reason knew how to capture her, which is kind of odd, unless they knew about Kryptonian bullets, and which is something that you would need Lex Luthor for that kind of situation. It's so like it's so all out of place. Like it feels like you needed more of this backstory, which is why I'm saying like all the fluff in between, when you saw like Barry like sitting in the room in the apartment with like the two friends who are assholes, like I don't even know why you included them. It didn't even make like I could have done without them. 100% could have done without them.
Yeah, for sure. Chillin says there's a 4-hour cut of The Flash. I'd watch it. I'd watch it.
I'm tired of these. Like, oh, there's this director's cut. There's this director's cut. Well, they do fucking throw it out.
They do always, like, director's cuts have been around for a long time.
And I'm totally aware of that. But like when you tell me there's a cut of this, there's Taika Waititi has like a 3 to 4 hour cut of God, Thor. Yeah. Love and Thunder. Like I was about to say Guardians. I'm like all over the place right now. Like it's one of those moments of like, then fucking toss it out. Like put it on DVD. Fuck it. Give it to us. Like let us see. If you're just like, here's the keys, here's some keys. You can't have it though. Fuck off.
Do you know what really annoys me? And you make a very good point. Like, there's nothing stopping companies from doing this now. I can understand years ago when, you had to print a bunch of DVDs or Blu-rays or VHS or something, you wouldn't get a director's cut or an extended cut or fucking the ultimate cut or whatever the hell they want to call it.
Yeah.
I understand why they wouldn't do it years ago, but now it's like upload a fucking cut of the movie onto HBO Max and away you go. People just watch it. It's just going to sit on a server. It's taken up a fucking minuscule percentage of their server space. It's like, just throw it all out. You know what I mean? And like, the way Disney do it, where they have like, when you go into a movie, and especially now with like all the IMAX stuff, you can watch different versions of it. Yeah. I think I've seen it before, maybe on, I can't remember where I saw it. I definitely saw it somewhere. I think it was on something Star Wars related, where it was like, watch the latest version or watch the theatrical cut. I did see that somewhere. I can't remember where I saw it. But like, why don't they do this? Like, you put up a copy of Justice League, and then beside it, well, maybe not, that's a bad example, but like, say you put up a copy of this movie, and then you put up a copy of like the 4-hour extended cut or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the funny thing is like, we've seen that before with George Lucas, and for some reason, like they started like deprecating the previous versions of it. Like it was very hard to find like previous versions that didn't have like all the extra characters or things in the background, or that was a tough situation. You had to have saved your VHS tapes or original DVDs in order to keep that kind of stuff. And I think it's because they don't want it all to get into the wild. But like, then just bundle it up with like 3 discs. Charge me fucking $50 and say like, here's the movie in 3 different versions. Here's the director's cut. Here's the extended cut. Here's the theatrical cut. Yeah. And I'd be happy with that, because then I'd be like, all right, well, let's see what the director had to do with this. And, who knows? It could have been fantastic. But but at the same time in my head, I'm like, 4 fucking hours. Please tell me that they don't add those 2 characters in there for like more shots. Like The fucking
the 4-hour cut as well has to get worse with the CGI. Like the budget's gotta go down as the movie's going on. Like maybe that's why they had to cut it out, because they're like, shit, the CGI is getting really shaky here, guys. We gotta cut back. Although I wonder if they had, like, say they had a 4-hour cut and that's where all the CGI budget went to actually 4 hours, and then they didn't like rejig it. Maybe they lost all their money and the budget was over, and then they had to cut it down, so they didn't have the money to finish it. But I really wonder, like, if the movie, like, so yeah, the movie's done now. We have the final cut of the movie, or the theatrical cut of the movie, as they call it. I wonder, are they still working on the movie now to try and improve the CGI before the digital release? Because like everybody's sitting at home watching it on their 4K TVs when it goes on to digital are really going to be picking it apart, you know, going like, look at Barry's lips here, look at his face. Like, honestly, bro, like it was so distracting to me that I knew when it wasn't Ezra Miller on the screen and it was like his stand-in with a CGI face. Like you could blatantly tell, like scenes where they're sitting in Batman's ship and they're talking to each other, and it's like, I know which one's real and which one isn't. Like, you shouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like, they were doing that shit in Friends, like in the 90s on TV, where you do like the split screen shot and you shoot the two scenes and just put them together. How the fuck did they not do that for these scenes? There's scenes where they're standing beside each other, they're using CGI. Just do the split screen thing that TV's been doing since the 90s. Like,
maybe they thought it would. It's maybe they thought it would save time. Maybe they really thought it would save time. And that's the thing. That's the thing, man.
It has to be cheaper for Ezra to shoot a scene. Shoot the same scene twice and do both lines. It has to be cheaper to actually physically do that than use CGI.
It really depends. So like they had a stand-in. So what if they didn't really have to pay too much for the stand-in? And then they're like, well, let's not worry too much about the CG. This will cut costs by this much. They won't know the difference. Run it, clip it, edit it. We're good. Get out. And then it's like, yeah, no, people are gonna nitpick this. They're gonna see it. They're like, you watched it once and you've already seen it. I started noticing it like halfway through. I'm like, ugh, that's gross. Yeah. Like it looks weird.
Minute one for me, like, sorry, it was the babies first of all, but as I said,
babies fucked it.
Yeah, no, the babies were so fake. It was funny. It was worse than a video game from 2012. But I understood why they did that, so I gave the babies I gave them a hard pass. I was like, okay, that's fine. Let's just move on. But then when we started seeing that level of CGI pop up again in the movie, I was like, oh fucking hell, how dare you? But then the fact that Muschietti turned around and said, oh, well, it's just Barry's perspective. It's like there was so much bad CGI out of the Speed Force. Like, I think he made that comment when people were thinking, like, you know, with the running and stuff like that, and like with him going into the little time bubbles or whatever the fuck they were trying to portray the Speed Force to be. But like, Jesus, dude, like, oh my God, like the scenes outside of the Speed Force were just horrendous. No excuse in 2023. Really? No excuse.
Exactly. And I agree wholeheartedly. Also, I get that Barry runs incredibly fast. I get that he has a very athletic build. I get that he has to eat tons of food. I feel like they just kind of overdid that a little bit. Like, oh my God, I got a little you give me a bowl of spaghetti. Thank you, Batman. Thank you so much, Batman. Can you throw some Parmesan cheese on that bitch? I'm gonna fucking gobble that shit. Like, what the dude?
Yeah. No, I like that Barry eats a lot. I think it's funny. And in the first Justice League movie, I thought it was hilarious how he's like, you know, he's walking around, he's always has a full pizza in his hand and he's chomping away. Like that was funny. And I actually quite liked on his new suit the way he had like the calorie counter, and he's like, you know, danger zone, like we need to eat. Like, you know, I thought that was cool. But yeah, like there was a lot of comedy in the movie that just didn't work for me. It
was so lackluster and very cringe. Like I said, going back to his two friends, like who makes fun of people anymore, like in the modern times like that? Like, you know, it's one of those things of like, yeah, maybe when he's 18, they're fucking around, but like he's a grown ass man and they're like, Barry, you suck. Oh, Barry, you suck. And I'm like, this is so annoying. I fucking like, in my head, I'm like, these two better not fucking ever show up again. And then they showed up again in their younger forms. And I'm like, I fucking hate you guys. Like so much. I was so mad with that. Like it's not like it ruined the show. It was one of those things like we didn't need that. We didn't need them getting interrupted by anything. We needed them to finish what they needed to do, was find Batman, find out like whether or not the Justice League is even alive, which they weren't. Like that was the big thing, is like, oh my God, in this world, there's no Justice League. You know, there's no Arthur, there's no Cyborg, there's no like Wonder Woman. It's nothing. It's like,
Yeah.
would I say it's worth the money? Oh my God, no.
So
I would say
yeah.
like eight, like you go to a theater for like $7 or $8. Okay, I'll give it that. I had to pay $13 for matinee.
Bro, I paid including booking fee, I paid €39 just for the seats. And so €39 is about $42. So just for the seats before we even got food. Was it worth it for me? Unfortunately, I'm gonna say yes, because, and it's not the movie, it's just the whole experience of going and everything, and just getting to talk about it on the podcast and everything. It's an expense that I know is coming. You know what I mean? Anytime there's a superhero movie that comes out in the theater, I go to see them. Haven't broken the streak since I was about fucking 14 or something. I've seen every single superhero movie in the cinema. I just know this is an expense that comes for me. Like, so I don't think of it like that as, is it a waste of money or not? If you're not a big fucking fan, especially if you don't like know the Flash, or if you think DC movies are already shit, like I would say maybe don't waste your money and go see this movie. Like, download it for free, like torrent it for illegally or whatever you want to do. Exactly. As Havent says in the chat, it's a business expense. That is the way I look at it. It's a business expense.
Well, I can't write it off, sir.
No, well, I can't, but you know what I mean? Yeah, like I have money set aside in my life for shit like this. Like,
of course.
You know, like, so that's the way I think of it. Even like buying games, I'm just thinking like, this is for my stream. Like, you know, it's a business expense. Like, you know, so yeah. But like, yeah, taxes work different over here than they do in the States. Like, but anyway, I don't want to talk about it. It pisses me off. Yeah, like, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think if you're a big comic book, if you're a big like superhero movie nerd, and you've liked what DC have put out so far, I would say, yeah, go to do it. Like, go to see it. Go, and you might enjoy it. You know, I've heard people say that they do enjoy the movie. You know, and like, I've even like, there's a few people on TikTok who, you know, I trust their opinions. You know, and they've had a lot of good stuff to say about the movie. Like Soups, for example, like he has had had a lot of good shit to say about the movie. And there's a few other guys who've like, you know, oh, let the CGI go, you know, just enjoy the movie. And the CGI, and I would usually agree with him, right? But the CGI is so bad that it annoys me. Like, it annoyed me so much. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it genuinely did. Like, the bit where the whole world's colliding happened, like the incursions or whatever the fuck, like that they were trying to do. Again, hilarious. The movie was called Worlds Collide, and like the whole colliding thing lasted about 35 seconds on screen. Like, it was kind of wild to me. I thought that was going to be more of a storyline, you know what I mean? Like, it's, except for like a tiny little glimpse into all these different worlds dying.
Right.
But that whole scene like was just so bad because it was all CGI. There was no practical acting or anything in any of it. All the worlds were just, it was all CGI. Like, it was terrible in my opinion. Like, it's, you know, the way like when some movies bring in like a cameo, or like, you know, I was rewatching Hawkeye this weekend just because I had nothing to watch, and I just was like, I'll throw on something I've seen before. And I was watching a bit of Hawkeye, and you know, it's like bringing like Vincent D'Onofrio into it. It's kind of like a kind of, you know, like fan base like servicing sort of thing, like, you know, like, but at least they actually got him to come in and shoot scenes, you know. Whereas like with this, it's like Nicolas Cage is coming into the movie, but it's like he wasn't even there. He didn't do anything. He didn't say a word. So, you know, we didn't need his voice. And the CGI on his face was so fucking bad that, you know, he wasn't even in to do mocap shit or anything. Like, they just fucking created him in CGI, and it didn't look real at all. It just looked like a bad video game. It was awful. So bad.
And to answer Douglas Thomas, no, they did not play Power Man 5000. That would have made me laugh so fucking hard, because it would have been a little bit cringe, but I would have loved it. Like, it would have been one of those moments of like, you hear the whisper, now this is what it's like when worlds collide.
Yeah, that would have been, that actually probably would have worked. Like,
it would have. It really would have.
That's kind of Barry's humor or whatever, you know. Yeah. So, what did you think of Clooney? Because obviously they did get Clooney, and he was one cameo that they actually did shoot with. So like, he was the only one He was the only proper cameo in the movie, except for we knew Keaton isn't a cameo, but like he was the only cameo that came into it that actually had lines and was physically there and shot shit.
Right, because
and Jason Momoa, sorry.
Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot. Like if you think about it,
true.
Unless they CG'd it, then that would have been funny.
Well, they did CG it for Fury of the Gods. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about them using a body double for this one. I think she actually was in this movie because, do you know as well? Like we know from behind the scenes stuff that Cavill actually did shoot some scenes for this film. So, you know, I would say Gal came in, and because Affleck was there as well, it was a big thing. You know what I mean? So I'd say Gal probably did show up for that, where she probably didn't bother showing up for Fury of the Gods.
Right.
Did he have the nipple suit on? No, he was just Bruce Wayne, unfortunately, not.
Yeah.
Thing. I actually, look, I'll be very honest with you as well. I don't like Clooney's Batman. Clooney's Batman is the worst fucking Batman in the world, but I thought it was quite funny when, you know, Barry gets the call and it's like, hey, it's Bruce, I'm pulling up outside. And
I heard his voice and I'm like, that's not.
Yeah, I knew straight away. You could tell straight away, okay, it's not Affleck. But then he pulls up in the same car and you're kind of like, oh shit, who's getting out? But when he sees Clooney, he's like, who the fuck is that guy? I thought that made me laugh. I thought that was quite funny. But
no, like, you know what would have been more, more fitting is if it was fucking Val Kilmer.
That would have been cool. I love Kilmer.
Yeah. Like, but it would have been fucking hilarious because then it's really like, who the fuck is that guy? Because that guy did only one Batman, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else got like two.
Yeah.
Except, well, did Keaton get two?
Keaton had 2 movies, yeah.
Keaton had 2. Okay, so Keaton had 2. Clooney had 2. Or did he have 3? No, he had 2. Okay. Which ones were they?
I thought Clooney only did 1. Because wasn't it Keaton did 2, then Kilmer did 1, and then Clooney did 1, and that was the end of it then. And then they did Christian Bale.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Kilmer can't speak anymore, so he's not really doing much acting. I like the way that they actually, when they did the Maverick movie, they actually wrote that into the script that he had that illness or whatever, and then he died shortly after. But yeah, Clooney only had 1. What would have been funny is if you saw the bat nipples through his suit. I thought that would have been hilarious. Like if you imagine like through his actual shirt. I actually saw a clip of him on the red carpet, and he was asked about being in the movie or something. This was a red carpet before the premiere of the movie, and he was asked something about the Flasher being in the Flash, and he kind of looks at the camera real weird, as if to like be like, "Oh no, Jesus, there's no way I could be in that movie." He's like, "I destroyed a franchise in one film," and he kind of laughed about it. And I was like, "Fair play to you, dude. You're making jokes at your own movie." Like, you know, I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, but Jesus, like, it is kind of mad to think like how he completely destroyed that franchise, and then they had to like take a break and then like reboot it like years later. Like it was nearly 10 years between them, you know, like they were kind of like, shit, after how bad that was, we need to take a break. Oh, so funny, dude.
I mean, it's kind of reaching that point right now with a lot of live action superhero movies, if you think about it, because like even Feige's like, we got to take a break, guys. Like we need to go back to the drawing board because shit's not going well. And I agree with that. Like it seems like only the animation team for like for Sony Pictures and Into and Across the Spider-Verse, like those are doing magnificently. But this is exactly what I'm saying. Like as much as I'd like to see all the live action movies, I'd love all the animated shit. It's so good because you could do whatever you want with it. And yes, it costs more money because like you have to, you know, throw in so much crap. Like, but fuck it, dude. Like you see how well it did for Across the Spider-Verse. They did amazing marketing. Like I went to see the movie twice. I bought both Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales heads for like the popcorn tins. I bought the cup for you know, with the Spider-Man stuff. Like I even got Miguel. Yeah. And you know, Max Luthor got Miles, and like we got buckets and stuff. Like I was a kid, man. I was just like, oh man, give me everything. I will take all the candy. I will take it all. And I was having the greatest time. With the Flash, it was like, yeah, I'll just take a soda. And that was pretty much it for me.
Yeah, like again, Warner Brothers are kind of fixated on live action, I think, and they're trying to catch up with the MCU, and you know, they're trying to make their own MCU, and now they've got James Gunn. So yeah, like they're I don't think they realize what they have. Like the DC animated stuff is like some of the best animated stuff in my opinion. Like I love all the DC animated movies. They're incredible. Like they even brought out a Green Lantern movie towards the end of last year. I think it came out around October or something, but it was a Jon Stewart movie, and it was fucking brilliant. Loved it.
Oh yeah.
And I love all the Batman stuff. Like, and Flashpoint, the movie that this is, or the what's kind of this movie is based on. It's kind of a mix between Flashpoint and some other stuff, but the Flashpoint movie is incredible. The animated movie, like, it is so good, so good.
And the sad part is like with a lot of the Marvel movies that you can see animated, it kind of like it's not in a good spot right now. Universal, I believe, is the owner of the distribution rights for Hulk, correct? So I want to go see Planet Hulk. Guess what? I can't find Planet Hulk anywhere, and I want to rewatch it. I want Katie to rewatch it. I want you to watch it. It's there. Like, there's some Marvel shows and like animations that are just so good. And I would say like the Hulk ones are always the best ones in my opinion because of how destructive things can get. And it's not so much of a bias. I am a big Hulk fan, but like that's what I grew up on, man. Like all that destruction and chaos from playing Hulk. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I got to agree with Rob here. Like DC shits all over Marvel in
100%, dude. Like
it's not even close.
Right.
It's crazy.
I would say in the late 90s, I would have said no. But then going over like Batman, the animated series, and even a bit of Superman, like I wasn't too great on Superman. I didn't really care for it too much, but like everyone says the animated series for Batman was one of the best. And I would say that's 100%. That's the number one. That's top tier.
Yeah.
You know, like Spider-Man, like from the 90s, from the late 90s, 90s X-Men, those are fantastic. They don't have the same crispiness as Batman, but they're still good. They're close contenders.
Oh, like the 94 Spider-Man is one of my all-time loves. Like that is what got me into Spider-Man. That's what made me obsessed with Spider-Man. Like, was that cartoon from the mid 90s. Like the Batman animated stuff, like I can actually say I haven't seen every episode of that show. Like I haven't sat down and watched it from start to finish, but I've seen most of it, you know, because it used to be on Saturday mornings, and like I'd watch it like Saturday morning cartoons. You'd be watching Spider-Man and Batman and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I do have to sit down and actually like make an effort to watch the whole thing from start to finish. But I've seen that Spider-Man show from start to finish about 10 times. Like that was my Bible. Yeah, love
Get
it.
back here, Shocker!
Shocker! Yeah, it's so good, dude. So good.
Follow you to the ends of the earth!
Yeah, it's so good, dude. I love the way he's like when he plants Rhino into the ground and he just starts spinning him around and all, like torturing him. It's so funny, dude. It's so good. I love Dark Peter in that storyline. Like that Venom storyline is what I consider to be the
top tier,
the proper Venom story. Like everything else is just wrong, opposed to that, in my opinion. Like
Spider-Man 3 really tried, but then they went the silly route, which was kind of bugging me.
Yeah, like, do you know what? And like, I don't really want to talk about Spider-Man 3 for too long because but what I will say about that movie is that if they didn't put Venom in the film, it would have been a really good movie. If they just kept it about Sandman, I think it would have been great. Like the fact that they threw Venom in there was overkill, and then they have Harry Osborn fucking like Goblin as well. I was just like, this is fucking ridiculous. If they just had it as a Sandman story, it would have been amazing. Spider-Man, a PS1 game, that'd be so much fun.
Oh, that would have been.
I would love that. Yes, good shout.
But one thing I want, like, I don't know if you remember this, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you have good collection of this kind of stuff. Between Batman the animated series and Superman, which one influenced the other to change their animation styles? Because I think
I don't really know.
I can't remember which one it was, but one of them basically caused the other one to change their animation styles, and it did poorly because of that.
I would say DC probably caused Marvel to rethink a lot of stuff, and then the Marvel stuff didn't do well. That would be my understanding of it. Because
no, I'm talking about between Superman and Batman. Those two animated series. Yeah, those two animated series. One, I can't remember which one. Batman changed Superman. Okay, thank you, Zombie. Yeah. So because the style of Batman so good that the animators from Superman were like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This looks great. Let's change it up. And I don't think it worked that well from what I remember.
I had never had an interest as a child in Superman, so I never watched any of it. Like I watched the Dean Cain Superman show. I kind of liked that one, Lois and Clark. I thought that was fun. And Smallville, I liked Smallville when I was a teenager, but I didn't watch. I didn't watch it religiously because, being honest, like Superman just never interested me as a kid because it was always just kryptonite. It's just kryptonite, kryptonite,
Always good.
kryptonite. And then it's like, oh, like, you know, they brought in a bit of Red Sun stuff, and that was kind of like, oh, okay, this is a little different, but it's kind of just kryptonite too. Like it was just, he's too powerful, you know what I mean? Like, so
Oh yeah.
it's just kind of boring. And I don't know, it was Henry Cavill's Superman is the one that really made me a Superman fan, in my opinion. Like I like some of the, like the Justice League Unlimited stuff and the Injustice stuff. Like Superman's cool when he goes kind of evil. So I think I'm more of a Superman fan when he's a darker character, you know, like, and a lot of people don't like that. You know, a lot of people love the Christopher Reeve style and, you know,
because that's like
Boy
golden,
Scout Superman. Yeah, exactly.
That's the golden age Superman.
Yeah,
like basically nothing happens. He stops like evildoers like on the streets and freezes their feet so that they can't move, and the police arrest them, and they're like, "Thank you, Superman. Here's the key to the city." And that's it. That's the end of the episode.
I prefer Superman when he's a threat. Like I think that's some of the best shit ever. Like,
well, because it makes sense. Because like as you get into the modern era of things, like you're gonna scare the shit out of people.
Yeah.
And like it's kind of like what happened with the Flash and at the beginning, at the intro, like with that whole scene where he saved the nurse and whatnot. And I thought that was great, but she overdid the fucking screaming. I thought that they could have toned it down, like maybe one less scream. I get it. You're traumatized because you just got saved from midair and you thought you were gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking. Are you talking about Superman farting excellence? That dude is. I hate how much they've made Superman so impervious to everything, and the only way to beat him is to have everything outside of Earth beat him, or have kryptonite available. And which kryptonite is not from Earth; it came from Krypton.
Yeah.
So it's like it's so tough to write a character that is like invulnerable to have like any sort of grounding. And I know that like most people, like I know diehard Superman fans, like you're fucking wrong. Like he has such background. Like you know, he goes through some shit with Lois and whatnot. Like he fights like, you know, the Kryptonians here and there. And there's all this struggle here. It's like, yeah, but like, we haven't seen that on the big screen in such a long time since the Christopher Reeve movies.
Yeah.
And we saw it in Man of Steel, and Man of Steel like really worked it out. I think him killing Zod was kind of fucked. I didn't like that because I think he's more like Superman is more of a person than just I have to kill this person because he's going to kill humans. I think it's more so a thing of like I have to knock this guy out as quickly as possible because I know I have to keep my sense of justice alive as Superman, and to basically keep that feeling of like I don't kill people because like. Even if he saved those people from Zod by snapping his neck, those people are now scared as shit because Superman just killed a guy.
Yeah, like I personally, you know, I didn't mind Cavill's Superman killing Zod. That didn't bother me at all because like that version of Zod was becoming so strong, and Clark couldn't handle him. Like Cavill couldn't handle him, and he was just like. He had the opportunity to kill him and he was going to kill people. So he was just like, fuck it, I have to end this. Like, you know, he was about to destroy the world.
Right. But this is the Spider-Man situation, man. Like Superman and Spider-Man are in the same fucking boat. Like Superman holds back. Spider-Man holds back. They can kill their villains so easily, but they have to hold back because it's not the right thing to kill your opponent.
Yeah, but I don't think he could hold back against Zod. Like he was giving it his all. Like they almost destroyed Metropolis trying to fight each other.
Then fucking throw him. Like throw him. Get him out of here. Like literally, like have a different way to solve that riddle in the sense. You know, people are going to die, but you don't have to kill the people that are trying to kill other people in order to set an example. Because that sets an example. Because if Spider-Man didn't have to hold back, he'd fucking kill Rhino in one fucking punch. He'd smack him he'd smack him in the teeth.
I understand it with Spidey, but I think that Cavill's Superman was in a situation where it's like he couldn't. That was his only option.
Just
in that one situation, that was his only option. And I understand, like, you know, I think in all of his other interactions, like it's like, okay, I'll fly Doomsday out of Earth's orbit and just throw him away or whatever, or fight him in space or whatever the fuck. Like I think that's all fair game, but I really think that Cavill's Superman, because you got to think as well, he wasn't Superman that long either. So it's not as if he was like a seasoned fucking fighter and everything. Like he's still kind of on the job learning. Because even when you see him in Batman versus Superman, it's been a little while, and you know he's so much better. Like when he's flying into the desert, he's like fucking people up and all. Like, and it's like you can just see he's well more trained and everything. Like it's almost like he's a soldier himself. Like he's strategic and everything. Like, you know, so I see Cavill Superman maturing as it goes on, and then sure we get to like the Snyder cut, and like he's fucking up Steppenwolf and all, like, and he's making it look like child's play. You know, like that version of Superman, I think, like the resurrected version of him in the Snyder cut, I think he would fuck Zod up no problem, and then like not have to kill him.
I guess in my sense of like training in for Superman is like, I don't think Superman is really a trainer. I don't think he really, like, he probably lifts, he probably does all this kind of stuff to keep himself active, but he's a brawler true and true. Like he and Hulk are brawlers. Like there's no real like combat training to be done. Like you just fucking Hulk smash, fucking Superman grab and throw you kind of situation. So it's like it's hard to say how much training, you know, Superman would need. I think it was just if he was so easily able to snap if he was so easily able to snap Zod's neck, then that means he held back. And that's the point, is like, how much do you hold back before it's too late? But it's like, but that's the thing, is like, why are you holding back on Zod? Zod is so fucking powerful. You can clearly tell you're having a hard time. So kick it into gear, please.
I think it's more battle IQ, though. It's more, you know, the fact that he got Zod's back and he got around his neck. It's like, okay, Zod fucked up here. I need to capitalize on this situation. It's like an MMA fight. Like you take the back, you choke him out. Like, you know, that's kind of what it is. Whereas I saw, like, you see, like, Cavill's version of him, of his battle IQ just getting better and better as the movies go on. And I think that at the start of it, he was still very kind of new. He was kind of very like kind of green as grass, as they say. Like he was a new Superman, like really trying, because like he only learned to fly in that movie. Like, you know what I mean? He didn't know how to fly before that. Like, so, you know, he's practicing his flying and everything, and he's only really noticing his full potential. So like he hasn't fought anybody yet, and the first person that he's fighting is Zod. It's actually quite scary when you think about it.
Right. And I wholeheartedly agree with you, Chillin. Like that killing did fuck him up. I'm not saying that it didn't. I'm saying that, I don't know, there could have been other, like he could have jerked him back. Like is Zod's neck so fucking like strong that he could, I could turn it and not like be pulled back or anything? Like just give me something. Yeah. Give me something else. Like there has to be another way, Superman. Basically, that's all in my head. But the movie's already passed. It's over with. It happened. I can accept that, like, he had no other choice now, but like I really think that there could have been a different way. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I just like, what do you do with Zod? You know, like, even if like say he captures him, like, you know, you can't send Zod away. He's gonna come back. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the point of villains. They come back. But that's what I like about superhero movies nowadays, is because they don't necessarily kill every single one now. Like in the Marvel movies, you do get, like, Ironmonger did get killed. Like you saw Venko. Did Venko die? Yeah, he died. So like early game, they died. But as they got further down the line, they didn't really die. They either got transported to a different world, they got locked up, they got they got sent into a different zone, they got sent into a different universe. You know, it's those things of like, that's how you kind of like retain your resources, by being like, okay, they went here. Yeah. So like, imagine if Captain America had somehow gotten Red Skull to die, then who the fuck would be watching over that area? Was it called? It's not Nidavellir. I can't remember. Vormir. Vormir.
Thanos died twice. Yeah, they killed two versions of Thanos.
Yeah, and that's fine, because they went back in time. They're like, we can get another Thanos.
We'll get you again.
Yeah, and that makes sense, because they went back in time. He was still alive. You kind of redo your resources, and that's what happens in comic books, right? Like you don't go like, oh, Batman killed the Penguin. That's it. Like, no, Batman locked up Penguin. Penguin's like, I'm gonna be back out the next day, Batman. And it's like, and
well,
he is.
This is how Batman's been going for 80 years, I suppose. It's like
exactly because like he's tired.
Yeah, he can't kill anyone.
And so when you kill someone as incredible as Zod, it like what else? What do you do next? You fight Batman, I guess. And it fuck, like I don't know. Like I don't know how to write a Batman and Superman movie, but I know for sure you don't fucking kill the villains unless they die on their own accord.
I gotta say though, some of my favorite Batman comics are like when Bruce does kind of kill people. Like if there's a storyline where he does kill the Joker, or someone kills the Joker, or something like that. You know, like those are I find more interesting than him just throwing everybody in Iron Heights, or sorry, not Iron Heights, into Arkham Asylum or whatever, and they all just fucking just escape like 2 weeks later. Like,
but it's cool because then you can make an Arkham show and show all that shit.
Yeah.
And you have the stuff that's going on in the background. But think about it this way, Finto. Like a lot of the endings to different comic series end with either the villain dying or giving up and saying, like, I'm done. Like, I'm tired of your shit, Batman. Like I'm gonna go. And it's dramatic because it's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, we've been here this whole time. You want to give up now? We've been here for fucking 100 years.
I love what Jason Todd says in Under the Red Hood, where he's confronting Batman and he's like, you know, if you just killed the Joker, you would save thousands of more people. Every time you let him out, every time you choose not to kill him, he kills 100 more people. He kills 1,000 more people. And it's kind of fucked when you think about it that way. It's like, you know, if I was Batman, I would kill the Joker first time around. It's like, I don't want this fucker alive. He can't break out again for the 5th time and start like another fucking like attack on an entire city and kill he kills thousands of people every time he throws his gas out into Gotham and, you know, fucks people up and all. Like, it's like, just kill the dude, get it over with, like, you know.
But that's what he wants. That's what the Joker wants. The Joker either wants Batman to laugh at his jokes, to kill Batman. Actually, no, he doesn't even want to kill Batman. He wants Batman to kill him. He just wants him to experience what he's lived throughout his entire life and to understand how it feels to kill someone, so that they can lose their sense of justice. And that is the whole point of DC shit, is to lose your sense of justice. And Spider-Man fits that category as well. Captain America sometimes fits that category because there's a lot of moments where he should really kill them, but he knows he needs to capture them instead. There's like Thor. I think Thor doesn't give a shit. He'll fucking murder them if need be. Well, like he usually knocks them out because he's fighting gods and deities. Yeah. Like he's always fighting things that can't necessarily be killed or can be killed, but will come back. And that's what like the flames, I forgot what it's called, the flames of Asgard or something like that. Though, if those flames are kept alive, you can kill an Asgardian, but they'll come back.
Yeah.
So like Loki can die multiple times, but as long as that flames abound, like he comes back. And so like, that's how it works. Like you need those villains to come back. Like it's fun.
Yeah, we've kind of naturally transitioned into Marvel. So I want to ask, are you excited about Secret Invasion next week?
I am, to be honest.
We're recording this. This is live on a Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, depending where you are in the world. I think the show starts on Wednesday. Am I right?
Yeah.
Do you know what's kind of fucked up, right? I'm excited enough for this show. Like, I want to watch it. Of course, I'm going to watch it. And, you know, next week's podcast will be about it, you know, and for the next 6 weeks or whatever, you know, we'll be talking about it. But this show, and I don't know why, but this show is just something that keeps slipping my mind. I keep forgetting about it. Like, I thought this show was out in like October or something. It's so weird to me. I'm like, we have an MCU show starting in like 4 days time, and I keep forgetting it's on. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Maybe it's because of the live action fatigue that we've been getting. Like, we're really not too interested in all the live action stuff right now. And so like everything that's going on in between is starting to become much more like interesting. And so to be completely fair, I thought it was on a Friday. So like I'm actually going to check it right now because I genuinely don't know. And this is the point I'm making is like, you know, we run a podcast about Marvel mostly, but I know nothing. Like, again, I'm not like seeing people like, you know, it seems like there's no marketing for this show right now, which is very strange to me. It's very hush hush. Yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on? How is this show? Every time whenever I open up a social media site, this should be the first thing I see is Sam Jackson's face. Like, You know what I mean? Like, why the hell is
Yeah.
this not everywhere right now?
Exactly.
It's kind of strange to me. Like, as I said, I keep forgetting it's on.
Yeah.
So the first episode airs on the 21st,
And that's a Wednesday.
which is Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay.
So first episode on Wednesday, and then it's every Wednesday for 6 weeks. You know, and I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like we're like no one's talking about it, which is weird.
Right.
Because I can't wait to watch it. You know, Sam Jackson's back. Yes, let's go. I think there's going to be. I've heard a couple of leaks which I won't talk about, but I've heard some interesting stuff about it, and I think this show will create some waves in the fandom. Like I think it's going to.
I hope so.
It's going to change some history, and it's going to set up stuff for what's coming in the past, what's coming in the future too. So I think there's going to be a lot to talk about on the podcast. But for some reason, I don't know, it keeps slipping my mind, or I'm not seeing. I'm just not. I think it's because I'm not seeing it being advertised like fuck. Like the Marvel pages aren't putting out loads of trailers. You know, it's like 1 minute clip. Here's the first here's 5 minutes of episode 1 and all that. You remember they were doing all that shit?
Oh, I fucking hated that. Like that was such bullshit.
I did too. I hated it as well, but at least it was in our face, and you know, I was kind of reminded that it was coming. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like TV clip or TV shots and all this sort of stuff. That's non-existent for this show. It's really kind of strange. I don't know what it is. I wonder if maybe they've given up spending money on marketing for these shows because they know they're not performing. So it's kind of like, let's just cut this back and see what people think. And you know what's funny? I bet you this is the best show out of all of them.
Probably. That's gonna be so fucked if like they didn't do good marketing, but this is like a really good show.
And do you know what the funny thing is will be? Oh, Max just said that they did release the first 5 minutes.
They did.
I haven't even seen it. It hasn't even popped up. I'm on YouTube every fucking day. How does it not pop up when I first open YouTube?
I think because you can access it yourself, and nobody really wants to like show off that first 5 minutes.
But again, when
I've checked reviews.
When Black Widow came out, every single clip that they put up was fucking thrown right in my face.
Right, it's all spoiler shit too, and it was like,
it was thrown in my face every single time. I haven't seen one clip for this. I saw the Den of Nerds put out a video about it yesterday, and I was kind of like, oh shit, this is coming soon. I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I haven't seen anything about it. No one's talking about it. There's a lot of ads on Twitter. I don't think I see ads on Twitter. Weirdly enough.
Well, they did advertise on Twitter that like, I think if you put the hashtag or something, it'll check to see if there's scrolls in your internet or something like that. It was just some weird shit. Like I was like, yeah, I think some people might do that. Some people might be like, there was a bit of hype in the timeline for that, but other than that, like, yeah, exactly. Like I pulled that up a while back. Like it's not live action fatigue; it's crap content fatigue.
Yeah,
like we've seen Across the Spider-Verse, and we're like,
incredible,
fucking amazing. Yeah. And it's like, why can't you guys do that? Like, what is the problem? What is the issue? Like, is it because you need the rights to certain types of series? Why do you keep and one of the things is that they keep mashing things like heavily mashing, ultimates. They mash regular shit. They mash like different versions of different worlds into like a single movie, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it gets out of place, man. Like it's one of those things of like, I'm tired because it's like, what are you trying to tell me? Which way do you want me to go, dude? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, Max mentions the algorithm, but like I would presume that I'm very heavily in the algorithm for all things like comic book. Like it's gaming and comic books is the majority of my For You pages, like, so I should be getting, if there is stuff getting released by Marvel directly, I should be seeing every single post that they put up. Because I like every single video that they put up, usually that like I see or that I watch, and I'm commented on everything. And also like the algorithm should be, for me, tuned to anything Marvel, DC, Star Wars. It should be all right in my face the second it gets posted. Like that's the way the algorithm should be working.
The only thing I would say, Finto, is that they didn't start shoving Flash stuff in my face until today. When I like, cause I hop on TikTok every now and then, I like to find funny videos and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And almost every other video was like, let's talk about Flash. Let's talk about Flash. Here's the Flash trailer. Here's Flash coming up.
Yeah.
And then like thinking about it now, it's like, okay, so Finto is right. There is a lot of marketing going on. So, there should be quite a handful of people going to see the movie, but like at this point now, we're just kind of like reaching this like peak of where like people aren't gonna watch it anymore because they've already got the reviews in.
Yeah, I've been seeing Flash stuff for weeks, man. Like even my sister sent me, like, she lives in Manhattan, and she sends me pictures of like gigantic billboards taking up the entire of like Times Square and stuff. So they went all out for that movie. But and then again, I was seeing so many fucking like little clips of like the trailer, like, go see the movie next week. It's out this Friday or whatever the
Right.
came out. Like, so like I saw lots of that, but I'm not seeing any of that for Secret Invasion. There's like nothing.
So Fento, here's the thing. Maybe they're trying to secretly invade Disney Plus right now.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. I think they should do something like that. Like, that'd
Dude,
be kind of
I would love that. Like, I would love for it to, like, on Wednesday, all of a sudden you see nothing but scroll heads in Disney Plus.
Imagine like Kevin Feige did like an interview on TV for something, and then like he like whips off a mask and he's a scroll the whole time.
It's scroll.
Like, I got you, fuckers. We've been in the MCU for years. Have you heard any of the like rumors or anything for the series?
Not necessarily. I think I've kept myself in the dark a bit. The only thing I know about is that Emilia Clarke's in it. Is Maria Hill is going to be in there?
Yeah, I think she's like quite prevalent throughout the whole series, as far as I know.
Right, but and Martin Freeman is going to be in there as well. But other than that, I don't know if there's any sort of cameos that I've heard of yet.
Well, I wasn't Cheadle in one of the original trailers, so he's going to be
Rhodey's. You're right about that.
Yeah, Rhodey's was in the first trailer. Yeah, I've heard some stuff. I won't talk about it. We'll keep Invasion spoiler free, I think, even just for episode 1. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I did hear some pretty cool shit, which, yeah, it's gonna be interesting for the entire history of the MCU, I think.
Okay, dude, I'm telling you though, I would love for Disney Plus to just get riddled with like new posters of like scrolls in movies that we didn't even like think about. Like, can you imagine if they change Encanto to Scroll Canto? You sit to see a bunch of scroll heads.
Yeah, or like fucking like Moana or something, and like it's like a scroll that's there instead. Yeah, that'd be funny.
They've been everywhere.
Yeah. Is there any other news from the week, or are we done? I don't know if this we might be done.
This is completely offset news, and you just sent me you just added me about it earlier. But One Piece is having a live action.
Yes, yeah. What are your thoughts?
So let me start by saying that I have rewatched One Piece at least 4 times, and I know that sounds insane, but I extremely love that series. It's an amazing series. I think everyone should try to give it at least a shot. If you can't stomach it, I totally understand. If you can read it, read it. But if you just can't stomach it, I totally understand. But I'll tell you this: if you wait until the moment that the show is over, and then you want to watch it, you're going to get spoiled to hell, because when we actually run into the One Piece, everyone's going to start spoiling it. I guarantee you. That aside, Katie has been watching it. She's already over 300 episodes in. She's in the newest arc, and she's really enjoying it. She actually teared up during a scene, and I was like, "Oh my god, she's really liking the show so far."
We actually we spoke about this last week.
Yeah,
I was only re-listening to our podcast during the week, and I the whole One Piece stuff. Like, again, I've never seen it, so I was interested on your perspective of it. And then obviously we get a trailer for the live action one. I'm like, Jesus Christ, One Piece is popping up everywhere here.
Yeah, and like there's like, you look at TikTok, so many TikToks of people are like, all right, let's see if this is actually good. And then there's like halfway through that video, they're like, oh, shit, I got to keep watching. And it turns into that. Like you start watching, then you realize that the show's good, and then you finish, and then you're all the way caught up to Wano, which is like in the thousands.
Right.
And so that's how much One Piece is beloved, because the way that they flesh out the characters, the way that they have everything kind of like working, people come back. Like, there was a character that was like at the very first episode that you don't see for like almost 100, like almost 80 episodes actually. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's fucking cool. You see a character that came out in like the hundreds of episodes and they didn't come back to the thousands of episodes. Like it's really connected. The whole world is connected. It's MCU shit.
Yeah.
In the live action, Katie and I are not really excited for it because it just doesn't feel that great yet. Like we saw the intro of it. We saw how the actor who plays Luffy, I think he's trying, but it just doesn't feel as authentic as I want it to be. I think they're trying to incorporate some American type like feelings into his personality as well, because there's a moment where he's talking to the other two crewmates and he's like, I'm sensing some tension between our crewmates. And he's like, we're not part of the crew. And it's like, Luffy wouldn't give a fuck if there's tension between the crewmates. He'd be laughing his ass off. And so it's like, okay, so this is going to be a different take. This is going to be I would say it's going to be an Americanized version of it. And it's going to be like, you'd have to really stomach it. I'm going to watch it, but I don't know, man.
And is it like a retelling of like episode 1? Like, I don't even know. Is it a live action movie or a show?
That's what I don't understand. I don't know if it's a movie or a show, but like, I know that it's trying to go all the way up into the Grand Line from what I can tell, which that's like over like 60 something, 70, 80 episodes in when they finally get to the Grand Line. So they're trying to scrunch in almost 100 episodes into that transition. And so I'm kind of worried as to how quickly they're going to try to like have the show proceed, because there's a lot of things. Like, once they get a boat or a ship, they kind of have some adventures in between, and I doubt they're going to show those adventures.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking 100% doubt it. They're going to be like, let's go. We're going to go from like Luffy's meeting to Zoro to Syrup Village when they meet Usopp, to now they have the Mary, and now they skip the one island where this guy's trapped in a treasure chest. They skip, Buggy's background. They skip like everybody's like things.
Yeah.
And only keep like the more important stuff. Like, oh, okay, do you remember Mayor Boodle? And it's like, I guess, but it's like, who gives a shit? Like, it's Buggy. Like, everyone wants to see Buggy. I guarantee, like, as much as people want to see the Straw Hat crew, when they run into Buggy, that's going to be a huge thing, because Buggy the Clown is everywhere. He's like, you don't see him for like a good while, then you don't see him again for a good while. In the more recent episodes, and I'm just talking quietly because I don't want Katie to hear, in the more recent episodes,
you better not be watching.
right? Spoilers, Katie, get out of here. In the more recent episodes, he's back, but he's not a warlord. He's not like just a random pirate. Like, he's an emperor now. And I'm like, how did he become an emperor? And it's like, he made a cross guild with fucking Crocodile and Mihawk. And I'm like, the other two warlords, and they're punking him because he's like, why are you the leader? And they're like, I don't know, don't kill me. And he's like, it's so good because it's like, because Buggy's getting by really easily, and it's fucked up, man. Like, he should not be getting this far. He should have been dead a long time ago.
That's hilarious. I think you might have spoiled something for Rob there. I'm not too
sure. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Rob knows about this stuff. He gets spoiled all the time. He's always on TikTok.
Better hit one of these real quick.
Right?
Whoops.
Spoiler alert. Nah, I'm telling you though, man, like, we're not at the same point between the manga and the animated series. It's far in between still, like, and the manga writer's on hiatus because his eyes are going fucked.
Yeah,
like
you spoke about this last week as well. Yeah,
he has double astigmatism, and he's like, I got to get surgery. I got to get my eyes fixed because I can't. Like, I need to focus.
Yeah,
and it's just fucking like, the dude's so dedicated, and he wants to finish the show and the manga. And when he does, I guarantee you, man, spoiled it for me. Fuck you, dude. I don't think you even watch it. If you watch it, I'm sorry, but if you don't watch it, no.
Yeah. Look, the show's 1,000 episodes in. Like, where do you watch it? Like, does it stream somewhere for you?
Yeah, you can watch it on Crunchyroll. You could watch it ad free, but you have to pay for it. But if you can watch it for free, it's just filled with ads. But I believe they also have it on Netflix, maybe either on Netflix or maybe Hulu. I can't remember. There's
I
a
think
lot of
Yeah, I think I've seen it advertised on Netflix over here, but I don't even think I clicked into it, because if I clicked into it and saw 1,000 episodes, I would be like, "What the fuck?" Like, I can't imagine
dude,
it's all there. You know?
dude, like it's amazing. Like, and to be completely fair, that's not the longest running like series. I can't remember the name of it, but there's another series that's like way longer. And then there's one that I do know called Case Closed. That's a murder mystery anime that's been going on. That's almost 1,100 episodes in already.
Wow, that's insane.
I don't know how they perpetuate that shit, man. Like the kid, like it's a detective who was like, I think 15 or 16. He gets turned into a kid, so he has to still solve murder mysteries as a kid, but try to pretend to be his girlfriend's like father doing the solvings.
Right.
How do you do that for over fucking 1,100 episodes without ending it?
I have no idea, dude. I honestly don't know. Like, again, I don't know how you've watched like 4,000 episodes of a TV show. It's kind of wild to me. Like, yeah,
Dude,
you
it's
say
like,
you've watched it like four times, and there's like over 1,000
yeah,
episodes. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. I know you were saying it's
so
like
good.
they're like what, like less than 20 minutes without the ads, or without like the credits and the intro and stuff like that. So
yeah, you skip the intro, you skip like the because it does have like a previously kind of situation. You skip that, you get to the title screen, and then you're good. Like you have like 18 to 20 minutes to go.
yeah,
And so
still a lot of
some
a lot of time, bro.
dude, some
Lot of
people
time.
did the math. If you were to watch it nonstop,
Yeah.
20 minutes a piece, nonstop, you didn't sleep or anything.
Yeah.
You'd basically finish it within 14 days if you could.
I was about to ask someone in the chat to do the math, but yeah, 14 days, bro. That is insane. 2 weeks straight.
2 weeks straight, but like you'll kill yourself, man. That's ridiculous.
I remember, and this might be the last thing we kind of talk about, but I remember fucking back before like the MCU became crazy. I think it was when they first released Infinity War back in 2018. It's like the MCU had been going for 10 years, but I think if you watched everything leading up to Infinity War, it took like a full day, 24 hours. And cinemas over here were doing like these crazy screenings where they were showing the entire MCU again. And then at the end of it, it would lead up to the very first showing of Infinity War. So you'd be at the premiere of Infinity War then, and I couldn't get tickets to go to see it. So it was really annoying. But what me and one of my friends did was we watched the entire MCU, and we planned it out, and we watched the entire MCU and then went to see the new movie. Like, and it was fucking crazy, dude. Like we skipped one or two because I was like, I don't want to watch like Thor 2 and fucking Iron Man 3 again. Like, but like we could just skip them. But like we pretty much watched the whole thing. I think we did like 20 of the 24 hours and then went to see the new movie. Like it was fucking wild.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. But like now, even trying to do it, like you couldn't do it now. Like the MCU is so long now. Again, you would probably be 2 or 3 days of nonstop watching if you wanted to watch absolutely everything in the MCU. Yeah, I gotta say as well, big shout out to Zavin here. We talk about this on my Twitch all the time, but like he watches Arcane. Literally, he'll watch Arcane, he'll start it, he'll finish it, and he'll just go back to the start and he'll start it again. And he's just constantly watching it in a loop. He's watching it, I think 100 times or something.
And I think he's referred to me to watch it like multiple times. And
have you never seen it?
No.
Oh my god, bro!
I heard it was great though.
I'm not a big anime fan, and I love Arcane. And like my missus would not watch she wouldn't watch anime at all, and she was she was amazed by how good that show was. Yeah, it's incredible.
Dude, you know,
Max, how dare you?
Show's ass.
It's fucking brilliant. It's brilliant.
Honestly, dude, like, trust me, when I tell you, and Mex can back me up on this. When I tell you, you have to watch this show. It is fucking amazing, and it's an anime. 380. There's no fucking way it's 389 times. Zavin, you're just playing it in the background now and just listening to it and just reciting the words.
I think he says he has it on when he's working and stuff. So like it's not like sitting glued into it, but even still, that's still a crazy number. The first time you told me you were rewatching it loads of times, Zavin, it was like I think you'd said you'd watched it like maybe 60 or 70 times, and now it's up to like 389. It's fucking wild, dude.
But yeah, so Mex can back me up on this. When I tell you, you need to watch this anime, You absolutely need to watch this anime, and I am badgering you about it, and I'm telling you over and over, you really should watch this. I guarantee you will love it. As much as Mex fought me on it, he's like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. And then we watch it. We watch the first episode. You know what he says the next thing? Play another one.
Yeah.
Like
that's always a good sign.
He's like,
He's like,
oh, I gotta go to sleep, but oh no, why did we stop here?
Yeah. I love TV shows like that. Like, and there's a few TV shows which a lot of people might not find to be interesting at all that I just love. Like for example, like Entourage. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Entourage. Like, Entourage was made by HBO in like 2003 or something, and it's a show where if I watch one episode, no matter where I jump in, if I watch one episode, I will just continue to watch the show until it's finished. It's like an addiction. I just can't like not watch it. Like, and I kind of nearly stay away from the show for that reason, because I'm just like, I can't start this now. If I start it now, I'm just going to be watching it for like a week straight. Like, I can't stop. And like my parents, for example, they'll watch The Sopranos once a year, like religiously, like once a year. They watch it every year. So like every time a new version of it comes out, like a new collector's edition or something, I'll get it for them as a present. Like, so I got them like the ultimate like Blu-ray edition of all episodes. Like, and they watch it once a year. Like, it's insane.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, it's funny. But my girlfriend's never seen it, so it's one that we have to watch together as well. So I might have to borrow the Blu-ray box set of it at some point.
So Zavin is saying, I will watch One Piece if you watch Arcane. I'll take you up on that, sir. I'll watch Arcane.
Zavin, that's not a good deal for you.
It's not. It's really not.
That's a one-sided deal if I've ever seen it.
but I will do that just so that you can start watching it.
Well, what I was going to suggest was the next time we have a bit of a slow week or something, watch Arcane, and then we can kind of talk about it.
Sure.
No, so I got it. Zavin's been telling me to watch this one. I think it's on Amazon as well. I watched the first episode, but I was in a really bad mood and I just wasn't feeling it at all.
That's the worst, man. Yeah, trying to watch a movie when you're like pissed.
Yeah, no, it's a TV show as well. Like, and I watched the first episode and I was just like in a really shitty mood, or something was up with me. I can't remember what it was, but I remember I was like kind of distracted and I wasn't really paying attention. And then I was just like, fuck this. I'm not really paying attention to it. And I never went back to it, but I will, I promise. For you, Zavin, I will go back and watch it. I just need some proper downtime. I'll do it when I have my time off work at the end of July. I'll crack through it then.
Right.
But, yeah.
100% though. And Finto, I'm telling you this because as I just said before, there are two animes that I 100% recommend, especially for someone as new as you to ever watch anime. If you ever feel like you need something to watch, and I promise you, if you can't, like, I guarantee you might actually like this shit. There's two, and you should watch them in Japanese with English subtitles because that's because you'll get the voices in. They'll sound perfect to you.
Yeah.
One is Jujutsu Kaisen. They've only got one season right now. They're coming out with the second season later this year. It's only 24 episodes right now, and it's nothing but canon. It's nothing in it. It's filler. It's 100% canon. It is like just straight up the story.
Yeah.
The other one is Demon Slayer. That is also 100% canon. Like no filler whatsoever. It's already 3 seasons in. It had 24 episodes in the first season. It had a movie for a small arc, a second season which was about 11 or 12 episodes, and then currently right now tonight is the season finale for season 3, and it's an hour long. And and as soon as we get off of here, I'm watching it.
Hell yeah, that's cool, dude. I did see Demon Slayer pop up on Netflix over here, and I don't know if it was if it was the series or if it was a movie or something. But I'm curious. Well, I'm actually very curious because obviously we've talked. One Punch has come up like
One Punch Man,
One Piece has come up.
Has
come up like 2 weeks in a row now that I'm just like I gotta look and see can I fucking find this shit, like, you know.
Yeah. So. But you mentioned when you mentioned One Punch, I'm like, oh my god, have you seen One Punch Man? Because
I started watching One Punch because I think someone recommended it to me already, and I didn't really.
It's a superhero movie, or a superhero show.
I didn't really feel it though. It was.
Is it because he's like Superman? He's
I don't know. I don't know. It was just it didn't really hit. It didn't really hit with me. Like I was just kind of like, nah, I can leave this. You know, but I loved like Invincible and stuff like that, and Arcane was amazing. And
dude,
there is some anime out there that's like just really good. Like I can't wait for like Invincible season 2. Like it's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like I'll never get
Dude.
over that first episode of Invincible. Like the twist at the end of the first episode with the dad. I was just like,
oh, he just fucking
what
just
the fuck? He just kills everyone. Yeah,
I was like, oh
what?
shit.
Yeah, like that was wild to me, bro. Like, and I was
like, what the fuck?
Just even like if anybody was to watch that, like, there's no way in hell any person on this fucking planet would watch that and not want to watch episode 2 to see what happens next. Like, that was like the biggest like fucking grab you into a show I've ever seen. It was mind blowing.
The ending to Invincible is similar to the intro of fucking The Boys.
Yeah.
Like just fucking, they're out there talking, and all of a sudden, A-Train just kills his girlfriend, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
I started watching a show actually, and again, we should wrap it up soon. But I started watching this. I started watching a show actually recently called Hunters on Amazon, and it's kind of set in the 70s, and it's about like, you know, Jews growing up in New York and stuff, and they basically start hunting down Nazis and stuff. And I find the whole kind of Nazi thing very interesting, like the whole kind of theories of Hitler surviving and moving to Argentina and all this sort of shit, and they kind of go over that, and they kind of fantasize and dramatize that kind of scenario as actually happening, and it's a pretty interesting show. But the first scene in the show is like this woman like showing up at like a barbecue or something, and she like starts like speaking like German, and she's like, it's you from the camps and all this sort of stuff, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Your man like whips out a gun and kills everybody in the back garden, and they're all having a barbecue, and then he just like rings somebody, and he's like, oh, my cover's been blown, and you're kind of like, what the fuck? And like, it just gets you like roped in straight away. And like the first season of that show is so good. It's fucking crazy. Like they got Al Pacino to be in the show, for God's sake. Like he's a main character, and it's like it's wild. It's actually really good. Second season has been a bit of a letdown. I'm kind of halfway through it, and it's not as good as the first season, so it kind of hurts. But the show's finished. Like it's only 2 seasons and it's done. So I'd recommend watching it. Like, but Jesus Christ, it's one of those shows where it's like the opening scene just like it explodes, and you're just kind of like, what? Like it's mind blowing. Yeah, literally. Yeah. On that note, guys, I gotta call it quits. It's very late here. It's nearly 1 a.m. So appreciate everybody hanging out with us. The chat was great today. Everyone who was chilling with us. If you're listening to us on a repeat as well, just leave us a comment below. Let us know what you thought of The Flash. Did you like it? Did you not? If you're new to the channel, drop a subscription, leave a like on the video, all that usual stuff. And we'll see you next week. Secret Invasion episode 1. See you then. Bye-bye.
Later, everyone.